Hey everybody, got another video here for you. So camera out ran out of memory right while I was trying to film this. I thought it was running, but apparently it had already run out of memory. I used the flat black paint to paint this screw. This is the screw that will attach the extension bar to the leg bar. And I also tested it on a piece of cutoff here for body cutoff for doing finishes on guitars, and pretty cool, huh? That's just a single coat of flat black, like $1 a can Lowe's special. It's enamel, I believe. But yeah, pretty cool. And that's going to actually, that right there would be an adequate finish for a guitar. It should be waterproof and everything. So once I realized that the camera had run out of memory, and I copied all the footage off of the camera onto the PC, and while it was doing that, I got the spray can of the same flat black paint and sprayed a little bit on a piece of paper and got a little paintbrush and went ahead and painted up this center screw here that never was really painted before this thing went into the paint shop. And it's a pretty good color match, but I also hit the areas where the CA glue had prevented it from taking dye, and so it's kind of got this flat ring of black around the edge here. And I might try hitting that with a little lacquer and a brush. Well, this small piece of shim gets the nut more or less level when it's up on the neck, but it's still too low, so it's going to need like a piece of 2mm shim material across the entire bottom, and then it's going to need this little extra little 2mm bit at the back end, maybe even 3mm, 2.5, maybe this and some brass, something like that. I might be able to get away with just this. It doesn't look like it's going to be that far off from perfectly horizontal. So, time to cut some more pickguard material. So, on these string anchors here, these little guys, I was thinking that the little pins on them, locating pins to keep them from spinning around once you screw them down, I was thinking they'd just press into the wood and stay there, and I wouldn't have to like pre-drill or anything. I was wrong. And also, these screws are such a tight fit in these holes that they won't drop through, and they'll barely screw in, and when they get bound to the bottom, when the head contacts the anchor, they don't spin around, they actually stop and lock, which means that this would have to be totally flush with the wood, and the quote-unquote threads in this hole, which is technically a little too small, the screw's too big, would have to more or less match up with the threads you were cutting or had already cut in the wood, or else you'd end up with a gap and the screw would stop and there'd be no way to torque it down and close off the gap. So I took one and screwed it in part way, got it all lined up, and then used the rubber mallet in order to pound the little pin on the end to mark where the pin should go. And I did that on both ends, and then I laid a straight edge across the two holes to get my second line of holes, and then I went and matched up each of the existing holes for the screws and made another punch hole mark for the pins. And I think the punch hole mark alone might be deep enough for the pins, and I don't actually have to put a drill bit in the end of those. As far as these holes go, I thought the pilot holes that I drilled with just the starter bit would be big enough for these screws, and I was afraid of going too big and having it be loose, so I didn't go anything bigger. But I think I'm going to have to drill out these screw holes a little bit larger. And I also think I'm going to drill out the holes in these things so that it doesn't like just lock when the thing torques all the way down, and you can still spin the screw around and actually get it to clamp into the wood. So a little bit more drilling, and then maybe it'll finally go together the way it really should. So, making progress here. Not a whole lot left. It says strings and the swing bar. Everything is left for this guitar, except for a guitar case, basically. And yeah, so strap and strap locks. There's the pickup, kill button, a single double switch, a jack. Here's the guitar. Got all the anchors on. Got the nut and locks on. Fretboard's looking nice. Fret ends are feeling good. I think I need to hit it once with naphtha. I think I feel a little bit of tape adhesive on it still from where it was masked off. Finish turned out great. Barrel tuners are all on. Everything's all the way forward. It's already got the a double compensated kind of angle. Probably not steep enough, but wait and see. So intonation should be close straight out of the box. And I've got gobs of adjustment. And so yeah, coming along real good. Next step is take a measurement for the height of the strings right here at the bridge, and that'll tell me how much shim I'm going to need for this pickup. Okay, I got all my measurements. Started out by taking the meter stick and setting it up. It won't fit in the slot on the nut, but this nut, I set it up, that 2mm shim I put in there, it put the nut slot just a little above the fret plane, so that's going to be very, very close. And then I went for the number 4 string. The rails on the quad rail actually are radius to match, like, you know, your fretboard and stuff. So this is going to be the thickest part of the pickup. It's going to be at the center. And I started with that and the action gauge wherever it went. There's the action gauge. And the action gauge at the 24th. And this is with the saddle all the way down. And it's pretty much right where it was before. It's right there at 1.5 mil. And then I took my measurement here at the low side of the pickup, basically, and came up with 24 millimeters, and then I switched over to a short straight edge on the 24th fret and set it up on the saddle and took my measurement once again, because this represents fretting at the 24th, which is when the string is going to be closest to the pickup, and it's at 23.5 then, so fretting at the 24th versus an open string is like half an inch of difference in your pickup height adjustment. I mean, half a millimeter. Makes a half a millimeter worth of difference. So, then of course I put the calipers on the pickup, and it's clocking in at like 20 or 20 and a quarter. I want to be precise about things, wherever my pen went. So, it's only about, if I got 23.5 and this thing's 20, then it's only about 3.5 mil from the rail to the bottom of the strings when you're fretting at the 24th. And that's probably good enough. But I think it could probably also be a little closer in order to make it a little hotter without getting into magnetic buzz, because this thing is packing 3 ceramics, so this thing's got an awful lot of pull. A surprising amount of pull. You can actually induce magnetic buzz with this thing without too much effort. Once you get down to like about 2 mil, yeah, it's going to start making some sitar kind of noises, basically. So I'm thinking that I might be able to get away with jacking it up 1 millimeter. And the only thing is that, you know, pickguard material, even single ply, is 2 millimeter. So I've been thinking ahead. Yeah, I used to be a Boy Scout, and I'm prepared. And this is a 5-pack of 1 millimeter thick plastic sheet material. Basically, it's I mean, you can use it for a pickguard, I suppose, if you want. It's a little on the flimsy side. It's textured on one side, and it's glossy on the other, basically. But it's 1 mil thick, so I can cut this stuff out and use it to create a shim to go underneath the pickup, and then glue the pickup in position right about there. It would make a bad laminate finish for a guitar, actually. I'm expecting a very cool experimental part today. I might throw it into this video. So this is the cool new part that I was expecting to have arrived today, and it is cool, and it looks like it's going to work. It's self-adhesive Teflon coated tape, 3 inches wide or so, in a black. And the basic idea is that you would take it and you would lay a strip of it along the back of the neck of the guitar to basically coat the back of the neck with Teflon and make it slicker. And I'm going to have to give it a try. I do it on this guitar, but there might be issues with like the edges feeling funny or something like that, so I'll do it on a separate neck to test it out. Right now I need to glue in this kill button panel. Well, a little bit of a change of plans here. I was going to have like the strap was going to go here, and I was thinking that I'd put the jack, somewhere along this area. But if I want to be able to rotate this thing all the way back like this for some serious classical type position, then I'm going to want to be putting the jack back here and maybe put like the kill switch up here, kind of an idea. Run the wires along the side of the body all the way up to here, and that way you can get the guitar to stand up at this kind of an angle for some serious classical position, and still not have it hit the jack, and you'll actually be able to get like a straight jack end into it and won't have to use a 90-degree jack or anything. But then the problem becomes, well, if you do that, where are you going to put the strap locks then? Because the strap lock was going to go there. And the answer to that is you put it up here on this end of the bar. So you have one strap lock here and the other strap lock here, and the whole guitar will just kind of sit like that when it's on a strap. So I think that's the approach I'll use. Well, another change of plans. I thought about the layout for the controls and such a bit more and decided to change it. I'm going to make a longer version of this that sticks out on both this side and over here. I'm going to put the single double off switch up here. The jack's going to be mounted on the front of the guitar up here. And I considered routing channels. You'd have like a channel that went from here to here along this edge, and you'd tuck this wire inside that channel so that it wouldn't interfere with the swing bar. And then you'd have a channel that ran like across here, and both this wire and this wire would run in that channel, and then you have a channel running down this edge in order to get you over to the jack. And I considered doing that, but I don't think I'm going to do it on this one. I'm just going to route everything around the edges. This wire will come down to here. Both wires will come all the way around to here. And the wire from the single double off switch will come along this side. And then everything gets connected to the jack here. And that way, you've got all the controls pretty much in their optimal position. This thing's got to go back here because of swinging the bar way back for the ultra classical position. So, and then this seemed like actually it would be, yeah, up here. This seemed like the best place to put the single double off switch. And by sticking it on this panel, it's not going to stick out behind the guitar and won't interfere with this bar. And then just run everything around the edges is the approach I'm going to take. You'll have like 2 cables here, and that's the only place where it'll be kind of lots of cables running around. I mean, I've done other builds where I've actually had 3 cables wide covering almost the entire side of the guitar, and it doesn't look that bad. So I think I'll go that way this time, and next time I might consider routing channels in the back of the body for a flush install. Yeah, it looks like I need to do another experimental build that tests flush routed wire channels and tests Teflon tape for the back of the neck. Maybe I should just consider every build to be an experimental build until I don't have anything else I can think of to experiment with. Because on almost every build, I've always got at least some new idea waiting in the wings that I could try on that build. So, like right now, the X13 prototype is going to be trying out the interchangeable pickup system for the first time. And this thing is the first time I've ever done one of these type of swing bar setups. And yeah, I've got to test out routing channels in the back and whether I can get them deep enough or make them look good enough and all that kind of stuff. And I got to test out the Teflon tape on the neck. And yeah, the experimenting is not yet over, I don't think. Yeah, and then I still need to get a roll of the Teflon film tape and test it versus the fiberglass reinforced Teflon tape, which is what I've got right now, because the film tape might be actually even smoother since it won't have any fiberglass fibers in it. Okay, I think that's going to do it for this video. So until the next one, everybody, have a good one.